property of clay is to attract moisture to itself, and then through regular diffusion, if a really humid environment exists and you've got clay that is not charged or not filled to capacity with water, which it almost never will be all the way to capacity, it will migrate. The water will migrate to the clay and be stored infinitely in a mold-free environment. And then as conditions dry, and as the air surrounding that massive wall or whatever, plaster or whatever, as that becomes less humid, the moisture will migrate away. So it's called a hygroscopic reaction, or hygroscopic tendency of clay. It's to attract water, store it, and move it. So it's really kind of perfect. Any kind of environment. And so I mentioned a couple minutes ago, straw needs to stay very, very dry. Really critical. If it gets wet, mold can work its way in. So straw and clay is a wonderful mix, absolutely perfect mix, because we've got straw, and if it's encapsulated with clay and it gets a lot of water to it, the straw in the middle is going to be bone dry. Straw, by definition, is like this hollow core, right? So that air is going to be dry, and the straw, the outer fiber of the straw, will be dry because the clay will have taken the moisture away. So you can actually mix this stuff in you mix some clay and some straw and spray it all down with lots of water.
Is that considered slip clay?
Close. So clay slip is...
Clay slip, that's right.
So clay slip, and we're going to make some today. Actually, I've kind of got it made. We'll describe what that is. But clay slip is nothing more than water with a bunch of clay in it. So when we plaster, we're going to have some clay slip, and we're going to spread it on the oven or the greenhouse wall, and then kind of let it dry, or not even really dry, but we don't get it too wet. But all it does is takes your substrate, whatever surface you're going to plaster. In this case, let's just say the bread oven that's got all sorts of different materials in it. Takes that and attaches a fresh layer of clay with water. So water's like the glue to it, and then the clay goes on, and as the water dries, that clay binds to whatever was underneath it. So it'll just interlock, and the clay is actually not little tiny. It's not like pebble, sand, clay. The clay is actually these little platelets of flat little particles that bind together. Similar, closer to that. And it'll bind together and kind of create a substrate. So when you put your actual plaster on, so you coat it with clay slip, get it, it's just prepping the surface and kind of getting it ready to absorb the actual plaster. It just makes it a glue. Then water mixed with air, drier air with water, the water is going to dry. It's going to migrate away. So the cob oven, after you're just putting fresh clay that's ready to grab all the plaster. That's really all it's doing. So clay slip is that wonderful material that just binds from one surface to another.
What was that term? Hydrologic?
Hygroscopic.
Hygroscopic.
Yeah.
So my property is a lot of clay, and I had dreams of building actual buildings with it, and maybe making blocks with it. But I had concerns about number one, the frost, that sort of part of the year, and also any kind of moisture. So the key to this, and I noticed that on the cob oven, is having some sort of enclosure, some sort of roof or some sort of enclosure to keep the thing pretty dry.
Yeah. So, in what we're doing today, plastering, that's one layer of protection. Yeah. It's not good in this climate to be the only layer, but you can do it. So, there's a bunch of different plaster recipes. Today we're going to do a really basic one, which is clay, sand, straw, and water.